Part 20. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 191. Lu Ligan came back from Mr. Xie, showed the equity agreement to Zhang Chen, and told him that Mr. Xie invited me to dinner, but I didn't eat it. I was anxious to come back and show you this treasure. Zhang Chen smiled and said, "Isn't it just a few pieces of paper? If there is anything interesting, you can just read it." Lu Ligan glared at him. "What do you mean, just a few pieces of paper? Our lives depend on these pieces of paper. Come on, finish reading and put them away." "Why should I keep it?" "You can keep it. Aren't you in love? How can I steal love with a knife? If you think about it in the middle of the night, why don't you come over and knock on my door?" Zhang Chen said with a smile. Lu Ligan thought about it, and it made sense. He would really think of it in the middle of the night and take a closer look, so he carefully put the agreement back into his bag. "How about it? Lily will come over today, Saturday, right? Should we have a good celebration?" Lu Ligan asked. "Celebrating that we two have become paupers," Zhang Chen said with a smile. "They are two happy paupers who own land," Lu Ligan corrected. Zhang Chen smiled and was too lazy to talk to him anymore. Lu Ligan remembered it and said to Zhang Chen, "By the way, Lily will come later. Don't say anything. I will choose the time to talk to her and give her a surprise." "Okay." Boring, Zhang Chen scolded. In the evening, Jin Lily arrived at Wanghai Tower. The doorman and the security guard had known Jin Lily for a long time and called her sister Lily. The doorman opened the door for her in a flattering manner. Jin Lily went to the front desk as usual, opened the room and went upstairs. "After taking a shower and applying some light makeup, I went downstairs smelling good." When she arrived at Zhang Chen's office, Zhang Chen, Lu Ligan, and Xiao Wu were already waiting for her in the office. Jin Lily said she wanted to eat coconut chicken, but the three men shut up and obeyed her. The four of them arrived at the coconut chicken hotpot restaurant. The scenery here was still the same, but the business seemed to be a little worse. When they arrived at mealtime, they were able to be seated without queuing. 4 people ordered 2 portions of chicken, and the order clerk told them thoughtfully that if they finished one portion and then another, they would all be mixed in the same pot. By the end of the meal, the chicken would be old. Zhang Chen said yes. Jin Lily looked at the waiter and shouted, "Little sister, why are you so nice? We have been here before, why didn't anyone remind us to eat like this?" The ordering clerk smiled and was about to leave when Jin Lily stopped her and asked, "Do you want to change jobs in the future? If you want to change jobs, give me a call in a few months and come to my place." As Jin Lily spoke, she took out a business card and handed it to the orderer. The orderer looked around, quickly stuffed the business card, and said to Jin Lily in a low voice, "Thank you, Mr. Jin." After the orderer left, Lu Ligan asked Jin Lily strangely, "Why are you Mr. Jin?" "What, it's not possible," Jin Lily said proudly. "Come on, show me your business card," Lu Ligan said. Jin Lily took out her business card and gave one to Lu Ligan and Xiao Wu. Finally, she handed one to Zhang Chen and said to him, "Leave a business card for Mr. Zhang too. Please take care of me in the future." Zhang Chen laughed to death and took it. He looked at Jin Lily's new business card. There were 2 titles on the business card. One was the Deputy General Manager and Financial Director of Sanya Bayview Hotel, and the other was Hainan Bata Industrial Co., Limited Deputy Chief. 2 vice presidents are almost like an old woman with 2 guns, Lu Ligan shouted. "By the way, has the salary been increased?" "Of course," Jin Lily said. Zhang Chen smiled and said, "There are only 3 of you in total, and now you are all the boss." "Yes, can't you?" Jin Lily rolled her eyes at Zhang Chen dissatisfied. "Mr. Xia is now the chairman, Lao Bao is the general manager, and of course I am the vice president. Besides, when people from our company go out, Xia, after all, we all drive Mercedes-Benz, but who knows, we are just a small company of 3 people. This is true. I agree. People need clothes. If a company wants to be convincing, it also needs to talk about the company's image outside. Most of the people you deal with have no chance to go to your company. Who knows who you really are? What's the situation? Lou Ligon said, that Mr. Xia is so impressive outside, but you don't know that his office is in a dilapidated house. Exactly, Jin Lily agreed. Besides, our company is not ugly even when we go to the company. It's not ugly, but it looks like a big belly, Lou Ligon said. What do you mean? Jin Lily asked doubtfully. He looks like a king and has a lot of money. Get the hell out of here, Jin Lily scolded. We don't want to be your kings. Your kings will blow themselves up to the sky and their mouths will explode. Xiao Wu and Zhang Chen almost laughed out loud. Xiao Wu raised his glass and said to Jin Lily, Sister Lily, I'd like to toast you. We're in Gaohong. No, it's your family. 2 bosses suddenly appeared. No one in the troupe would believe it. Xiao Wu can still talk. Okay, let's have a drink, Jin Lily said happily. She raised the cup, glanced at Zhang Chen, and shouted, You come too, Mr. Zhang. Zhang Chen raised his cup and clinked it with them. Lou Ligon looked at them and said sadly, Oh, your bed is not enough. The 3 people looked at him in confusion. Lou Ligon said, You two are swollen. How can you still lie on that bed? The glass of wine in Jin Lily's hand was almost thrown over, and Zhang Chen and Xiao Wu laughed. After 1 pot of chicken was finished and the second pot was served, Lou Ligon asked Jin Lily, Mr. Jin, did you bring any money today? Bring it with you for what? Jin Lily asked. You're going to invite us today. The 2 of us are already broke. You and I know that all the money has been spent on Ding Dong, Jin Lily and Lou Ligon said, and then turned to Zhang Chen, what about yours? Aren't you brave enough to go to Ding Dong bar? When Jin Lily said this, the girls at the table next to her became uncomfortable. Xiao Wu smiled and said, they went to create a historical moment. What the hell? Jin Lily opened her eyes wide. She looked at Xiao Wu and then at Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen said, ask the Pole. Lou Ligon kept talking and told Jin Lily about their affairs. After speaking, he looked at Jin Lily proudly, thinking that Jin Lily would definitely praise them greatly. Unexpectedly, Jin Lily's face darkened, and she cursed, are you two cheating? You are the only one who would do such a thing, and you even made yourself into a humming beggar. Neither Zhang Chen nor Lou Ligon expected Jin Lily to react like this. Zhang Chen's face was also unhappy. He said, then you teach us what to do. Doing this kind of thing is just a waste of money. Who would invest real money in it? Let me ask you, even if the Lonkin South Road is connected, are you sure that the place will become popular? There are so many roads in Haikan, have you seen that some roads are popular? What can you do with the poor land, grow coconuts, or raise chickens? If you want to raise chickens, Poles, please go and ask the owner of this shop now if he still wants chickens. Lou Ligon and Zhang Chen both lowered their heads. The more Jin Lily scolded, the more enthusiastic she became. She said, do you know how much we spent to take down a hotel as big as Sanya? I tell you, listen up, your own not a penny of the money was spent. All that was spent was the money of the banks and investors. If it was wasted in the end, it would be them too. Not only did we not spend a penny, we also made a fortune. This is business. What do you think? Zhang Chen murmured, the platforms are different. How do we compare? How can we compare with your company alone? I think this place is correct. This is within the scope of our capabilities. We are not as ambitious as you. What ambition? What is your scope of ability? Drinking the northwest wind is also within your scope, so prepare to drink it. Business is business, don't be immodest. Compared with Mr. Xia, what you lack is brains, Jin Lily yelled. Zhang Chen stood up, turned around and walked out. Lu Ligan shouted from behind, "Zhang Chen, what are you doing?" "I'm going to the construction site to see if there's any northwest wind," Zhang Chen said angrily. As soon as Zhang Chen left, the three people stood there in a daze. People at the tables around them looked at them with gloating expressions on their faces. Xiao Wu looked around and cursed, "What are you looking at? Eat your own chicken." Someone muttered something dissatisfied. Xiao Wu glared at him and cursed, you." The man quickly turned his head and pretended not to hear Xiao Wu's words. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Niang. Chapter 192. After a long silence, Lu Ligan said, "Lily, you really went too far today." Everyone was originally happy. Jin Lily said angrily, "Am I going too far? Or are you doing this too stupidly? Why don't you let others tell you if you are stupid?" "You said yes, but I don't compare like you. Everything is compared with your company." "How can we compare? We are all compared with Mr. Xia, how can we compare? He has been in the mall for how many years, how long have we been together? Besides, we arrived in Hainan with nothing, no money, no background, and few people we knew. What could we rely on if we didn't rely on ourselves? Even if you are talking about a white wolf with empty gloves, the hand that is stretched out must be a golden hand, at least it is gold-plated. Our hands are pitch black, and the dust in the fingertips has not even been washed away. What can you get by going out? Really, it's good if they don't treat us as beggars, but let's trap the white wolf, and the white wolf should trap us." Lu Ligan's statement was so fresh that Jin Lily burst into laughter. She said, "No one starts out with bare hands. Mr. Xia doesn't have any background either. That stage is also different. I don't believe that Mr. Xia was able to do whatever he wanted from the beginning. He never felt depressed," Lu Ligan said. Jin Lily stopped talking. She remembered what Mr. Xia had told her. It was the Chinese New Year and she didn't have a penny, so she went to Chenming to borrow money to buy rice. What you see is that when he has succeeded, there are still many people who died on the way to success. You have not seen that in 5 or 10 years, we will still be able to control the wind and rain, but now, there is no way but to recognize, damn it, I have a business worth a few $100, but I still treat him as my biological father. I hope you have that day. There will definitely come a day. I'm very confident about this. If nothing else, look at it. We went to the island together, Chen Qiang and Lin Yiyan. They are from Peking University. By the way, you used to always like to use Chen Qiang to find Zhang Chen is talking about things. Look at it now, Zhang Chen is no worse than Chen Qiang, right? You are no worse than Lin Yiyan, right?" Jin Lily lowered her head and sighed softly. Thinking about it in her mind, she also felt that she had gone too far just now. She didn't know what was going on. She couldn't control her emotions recently, especially when she was with Zhang Chen. "When we are together." Seeing that the atmosphere had calmed down, Lu Ligan said to Jin Lily, "Lily, we all came from Yongcheng together, so we have been through adversity together. I don't think I need to hide some things." Jin Lily was stunned for a moment, and she said, "If you have anything to say, you can tell me." Lu Ligan looked at her and said, "I think you have something wrong now." "Me? What's wrong with me?" Jin Lily was surprised. "Yes, you. I don't know if you have changed a little because your work has been smooth sailing recently." "What a joke, what am I going to do?" Jin Lily shouted, but she felt a little guilty in her heart. "Really, you're a little bit cross-eyed now," Lu Ligan said. "What's the meaning? You just look down on people who are better than you or better than us, and look down on people who are on the same level as you, or even below the level. You were not like this before." "Nonsense, do I? I look down on Lin Yiyan, and I also look down on Lu Yun." "Xiao Wu, do you think I look down on you?" Jin Lili asked Xiao Wu. Xiao Wu shook his head and said, Brother Ganza didn't mean that. That's not what you mean. What does that mean? Jin Lili asked, glaring at Lu Ligan. Lu Ligan smiled and said, look, even Xiao Wu has heard it. I'm talking about attitude, not behavior. Your current attitude towards people, I use one word, may be inappropriate. Don't be angry. It's long-winded, that's what you say. You are a bit arrogant now, and you like to boss people around. Do you understand? Lu Ligan said. Jin Lili was stunned. After a long time, she sighed and whispered, Zhizi, when you say, well, I don't know what happened recently. Maybe it's because there are too many people flattering you and flattering you. Surrounded by such people and this kind of voice, it is easy for people to become arrogant. You are being put up and you can't get down, Lu Ligan said. Jin Lili had to admit that there was some truth in what Lu Ligan said. Indeed, from the time she arrived in Sanya, whether in Jia or Jinling Resort, the department managers and the waiters below all regarded herself as a big shot. Miss Jing grew up with Jin. Miss is short. Because their project was in Sanya, it was now a star project. When they came to the relevant departments, those people from the relevant departments who usually ignored people also looked down upon her. When she invited others to dinner or activities, those people, he doesn't call her Miss Jin or President Jin, but Beauty Jin. I have never seen anyone look bad at me in this journey. Is it true, as I said to the Pole, that after experiencing these things too much, people will become forgetful and lightheaded? It's no wonder, Lily, not to mention you, even those great people, how many of them can withstand this? Therefore, people will not only be killed with sticks, but also praised. Only the great leader Chairman Mao can teach our comrades must continue to maintain a modest, prudent, and non-arrogant and impetuous style, Lu Ligan said. Jin Lili chuckled, where is this, and the great leader has come out. Xiao Wu also smiled and said, Brother Ganza gets full marks. Brother Ganza is very good and serious when he talks to people. Lu Ligan scolded, you humming mean to say that I'm not serious. Being old doesn't mean you are old. Being serious is often not being serious, Xiao Wu said. Well said, Xiao Wu. Jin Lili smiled. Seeing that he was almost done eating, Lu Ligan asked to pay the bill. The waiter came over with the order. Jin Lili turned around and went to dig out her wallet. Lu Ligan held her down and shouted, what the hell are you doing, with you, you're just kidding, you really think we'll get to the point where we can't even afford food? As the three of them were walking back, Lu Ligan and Jin Lili said, Lily, think carefully about what I said. I know, it's so long-winded, Jin Lili scolded, to be honest, your words are not unreasonable, but I still don't like what you are doing. Okay, you continue to look upward, and we will work hard to get into your sight as soon as possible, Lu Ligan said. Jin Lili giggled, that's pretty much it. They walked to the office. The door of the office was open. Zhang Chen was not in the office. Lu Ligan suddenly shouted, oh, no. What's wrong? Jin Lili and Xiao Wu were startled by him and both looked at him. Did this stupid young man get stuck in his thoughts and jump off a building? Lu Ligan asked. You, Jin Lili cursed, and Xiao Wu laughed. Lu Ligan patted Xiao Wu on the shoulder and said to him, let's withdraw. Xiao Wu asked, should I go find Brother Chen? What are you looking for? They had a quarrel at the head of the bed, and they settled at the end of the bed. You want to stand next to their bed, Lu Ligan said with a smile. Xiao Wu's face turned red, and he kicked Lu Ligan away. Xiao Wu also chased him out the door, and chased him to the bicycle. The two of them got in the car and went home. Zhang Chen came down from the third floor and saw Jin Lili sitting alone in the office from a distance. He stood in the dark for a while, then turned and went upstairs again. Today, we were putting together the marble floor upstairs. Zhang Chen just lost his temper when he was on it. There were several places where the marble floor should be put together diagonally, but the workers were lazy and did not make diagonal joins. The squad leader upstairs saw Zhang Chen going down and coming up again, so he ran over quickly and said to Zhang Chen, "Mr. Zhang, I told them, they are already reworking." Zhang Chen nodded. Zhang Chen watched them working for a while on the third floor, then went back downstairs, wanting to go to the lobby again. When he passed the office door, he saw that Jin Lily had left, and Zhang Chen turned around and entered the office. Zhang Chen had been sitting in the office for more than half an hour. The BB player in his waist rang. He took it off and looked at it. What was displayed on it was, Miss Jin said, "Dear, where are you?" "I'm going back to the room first." Zhang Chen snorted, threw the BB machine on the table, and ignored it. After a while, the phone on the table rang. Zhang Chen knew that at this time, the call must have been made by Jin Lily from the room upstairs. He let it ring and refused to answer it. On the other end of the phone, Jin Lily also knew that this stingy man must be in the office. He didn't reply to messages or answer calls. He was still angry with himself. "Okay, you ignore me, and I'm too lazy to ignore you. Let's see who can fight with whom." Jin Lily put down the phone, sat on the bed, and watched TV. Zhang Chen was in the office. It was almost 11 o'clock when he sat down. The BB machine on the table rang again. Zhang Chen took it over and took a look. It read. Ms. Jin said, "Are you coming or not? If not, I will go back." Note, Miss Jin must add 3 exclamation marks and the word hum. Zhang Chen looked at it and couldn't help but smile. After thinking about it, he stood up, turned off the light, closed the door, and walked out of the office. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Niang. Chapter 193. In the first half of this night, the two sides were still in a cold war, but in the second half they reconciled and tormented each other to death. When the alarm clock rang, Jin Lily looked at Zhang Chen beside her, who was still sleeping like a pig. She entered the bathroom in a daze, brushed her teeth with her eyes closed, washed her face, picked up her bag and went downstairs. When she got to the door, Master had already parked the car and was waiting for her at the gate. Jin Lily got into the car and yawned again and again. The Master looked at her and smiled maliciously. Jin Lily rolled her eyes at him and cursed, "What a joke, I slept too late last night." The Master laughed even harder and said to her, "Don't explain, I was young too." "Okay, good Master, can you drive first and let me sleep for a while? I slept very soundly in the car while you were driving, really." The Master looked at her and knew that with her condition, she would not be able to learn at once, so he asked, "Okay, where are we going?" Jin Lily babbled angrily, "Keep driving, Jinny Yuling, Nankan, Changliu, Fukan, Old City, Lingao, Nada, drive wherever you want. If it's less than half an hour, don't wake me up, I beg you." After Jin Lily finished speaking, she tilted her head and fell asleep. The Master looked at her and shook his head. "After thinking about it, I decided not to practice on the road today. What if I bump into someone?" Master thought that there was an abandoned playground in Nankan. There were only 1 or 2 nights a month. When outdoor movies were shown, some people would go there. At other times, ghosts could not be seen. It was a good place to practice driving, so Master thought drive towards the farmland. When they arrived at their destination, they parked the car. Seeing that Jin Lily was still sleeping soundly, Master simply put the seat down and took a nap too. When the two of them woke up from the sun, it was already past 9 o'clock. The Master said, "Let's start quickly." No, the sun is so strong, I'll get tanned." Send me back quickly. Forget it in the morning, we can add an hour in the evening. Damn it, I got up early just to take a nap here with you, and then go home again? Are you kidding me? When Master was about to get angry, Jin Lily quickly said, I will bring you cigarettes tonight. I know Master treats me best. Master couldn't laugh or cry. Every time Jin Lily used this trick, it always worked, because Jin Lily said she would bring Master cigarettes, but she brought one instead of a pack. These cigarettes are given to border guards by friends who deal with smuggling and confiscated items. They are kept in the office for anyone who needs them to get them. Jin Lily would not give the cigarette to Zhang Chen or Lu Ligan, otherwise she would feel that she was being greedy, but if she gave it to Master, she felt justified. I learned to drive for work, so giving it to Master was not necessary for work. The two people drove back. When they arrived at Jinny Yuling, Jin Lily suddenly shouted, Master, stop the car. Master braked, stopped the car, and looked at Jin Lily. Jin Lily looked out the car window. She saw a car tire repair stall on the side of the road. There was a figure in the shed covered with asbestos tiles at the door. Much like Chen Ming, this figure had just entered the dark shop. Jin Lily waited in the car for a while, and sure enough she saw Chen Ming coming out of the shop with tools in his hand. He walked to a small stool, sat down, started to break down an old tire, and followed him out of the shop. One person is Xiao Zhao, she has a big belly. Xiao Zhao walked to Chen Ming and said something to Chen Ming. Chen Ming smiled at her, and Xiao Zhao turned around and walked back to the store. Jin Lily looked at them blankly. She wanted to get off the car, but she didn't dare to get off. After a while, Jin Lily sighed and said to her master, let's go. After driving out for 5 or 6 minutes, the master asked, what happened just now? I saw a friend, Jin Lily said with a wry smile. It turned out to be a multi-millionaire. Who would have expected that he would end up in this situation? The master understood, and he said, in Heiken, there are not too many people like this. There are people who have learned driving from me, and they are pretty good. Jin Lily nodded, she said yes, at least they looked happy. Have fun in suffering, master said, happiness is definitely out of the question. Jin Lily stopped ringing. Jin Lily said goodbye to her master downstairs and went upstairs to unlock the door and enter. Mr. Xia was already up. The door to his office was open. Jin Lily heard who Mr. Xia was talking to on the phone in the office. Just as Jin Lily was about to walk over and say hello, she heard Mr. Come talk to me about this. Jin Lily was shocked. She had never seen Mr. Xia lose such a temper after being in the company for so long. Mr. Xia always smiled when he saw people, and he always talked about being kind and making money. Who's on the other end of the phone? What are they talking about that makes Mr. Xia so angry? Jin Lily didn't dare to walk over. She thought that if she walked over at this time, both Mr. Xia and herself would be embarrassed, and it would be hard for her to exit. Who knows if Mr. Xia just heard her open the door and come in? You opened the door and came in. What does it mean to go out again? Jin Lily sat down on the sofa at the end of the living room. Yes, I said that. That's right. That's what I said. What can you do? I said you were an ignorant bastard, and you are a bastard. Mr. Xia continued to get angry. Okay, okay. I'll wait for you. Show off your abilities as much as you can. If you can't humming kill me, I'll kill you. Yes, Xia's hiking, am just like that. If you have the guts, come and get out. As Mr. Xia spoke, he threw the phone down hard. Jin Lily was startled. She felt that her life was in danger. Jin Lily stared at the door of Mr. Xia's office. After a while, Mr. Xia appeared at the door with a livid face. When he saw Jin Lily, he seemed to be relieved, walked over and asked. Came back. Jin Lily nodded and said, as soon as I came in, I heard, who you were talking to on the phone just now. It was so angry. It was scary. Mr. Xia sat down on the other side of the L-shaped sofa, lowered his head and said nothing. The room was surprisingly quiet. Jin Lily looked at Mr. Xia and waited. She felt that Mr. Xia seemed to have something to say, and seemed to have something unspeakable that could not be said. After a while, Mr. Xia raised his head, looked at Jin Lily and said, "Old Bao." Ah, Jin Lily was shocked. She thought she heard wrongly and quickly asked, "Who are you talking about?" "Lao Bao, yes, our company's Lao Bao," Mr. Xia nodded. Jin Lily was completely confused. Lao Bao, how could this be possible? When did Lao Bao dare to talk to Mr. Xia on the phone like this? What else could possibly make Mr. Xia so angry? Unexpected, Mr. Xia asked. Jin Lily shook her head stupidly. "I can't believe it, I really can't believe it. What went wrong with our Sanya project? It has nothing to do with engineering." Has nothing to do with engineering? Jin Lily couldn't understand even more. Mr. Xia sneered and said, "This bastard probably feels that his wings are stiff and he dares to reach out to me. What does he want? What does he want? Humph, he wants shares in the Bayview Hotel." Oh my God, Jin Lily really felt at this moment that only God knows why Lao Bao dared to make such a request. "You don't know, do you?" Mr. Xia looked at Jin Lily and asked. Jin Lily quickly shook her head like a rattle. "He has mentioned it to me many times," Mr. Xia said. "He said that Sanya Hotel can be won with half of his credit." I said, "Yes, just write me half of your credit." Did he write it? When he wrote shit, he asked for 20% of the shares. How could this bastard have such a big appetite? He asked for 20% as soon as he opened his mouth. Mr. Xia scolded. "I told him, the hotel is open, and if the benefits are good, I will consider giving options to not only you, but also Xiaojin and all the employees of the company." No, Mr. Xia, I promise I have never had this idea," Jin Lily quickly defended. Mr. Xia looked at her and laughed. "Why are you panicking? I didn't say you had it." Jin Lily took a long breath and patted her chest with her hand. Mr. Xia continued, "This bastard doesn't agree. He said he must give 20% now. I told him that I can't decide on the shares alone. Even if I want to give, I have to work with him. People are discussing it. You wait first. This bastard just called me and actually dared to blackmail me and told me that if I didn't agree to his request, he would fight to the death with me." Jin Lily seemed to hear a bang, and she felt that the pot where everyone was eating together had been smashed. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 194. "What should we do now?" Jin Lily asked. "What should I do?" Mr. Xia sneered. "I'm waiting for him to deal with me. Is there no way to save it? I think it's fate that we can work together. To be honest, I didn't expect Lao Bao to be such a person," Jin Lily said. "I never thought that I brought him up with my own hands. I never thought that one day my Xia's hiking's backyard would catch fire." Mr. Xia sighed, "But people will change, and things are difficult." "Material. Do you want me to call Lao Bao?" Jin Lily asked. Mr. Xia shook his head. "It's not necessary. Everyone is already at odds, so we can only prepare for the worst." "What's the worst that could happen?" Mr. Xia did not answer Jin Lily's question. The two of them were silent for a while. Mr. Xia clapped his hands on his thighs and said to Jin Lily, "Pack up, we will go to Sanya immediately." Jin Lily said yes. Mr. Xia stood up, took 2 steps, turned around, and asked Jin Lily, "By the way, are you going to learn to drive today?" "Hey, it's such a small thing, no matter what, I will detain my master immediately." "Okay, then we'll leave in 10 minutes. Mr. Xia said and went back to his room. Jin Lily quickly ran to his office and grabbed the master. After 2 or 3 minutes, the phone on the table rang. Jin Lily grabbed the phone and said in one breath. Master, master, listen to me. I know you will be very angry after hearing this, but please don't be angry. There is something urgent in my company. I need to go to Sanya immediately. I can't learn to drive today. Bye. After Jin Lily finished speaking, she hung up the phone. She knew that the master on the other end of the phone must have been furious. Will the other phone suffer from this? If you suffer a disaster, you will suffer a disaster. At the worst, you will have to pay for a phone. Jin Lily returned to her room. She didn't know how long she would be there. Jin Lily stuffed a change of clothes for half a month into her bag and cursed in her heart, I'm a stinky old man. I didn't expect you to come here again, and if you don't curse me to death when I arrive. The two of them got on the road. Mr. Xia's face was still livid. He drove the car very fast, jumping up and down on the bumpy road, raising a huge amount of dust, and all the vehicles passing by them were shaken off. Swearing through the car window. Jin Lily was sitting in the passenger seat, her face was livid, and she kept mumbling, my master told me that a driver, first of all, cannot drive a gas car, secondly, he cannot drive a gas car, and thirdly, he still cannot drive a gas car. Of course Mr. Xia understood Jin Lily's intention. He looked at her and cursed, did you find a master or a DVD player? He can only loop singles. Jin Lily kept nodding, master's words still make sense. Some people just like to drive a gambling car. Mr. Xia was annoyed by her nagging and shouted, stop talking nonsense. Do you think I would risk my own safety for that bastard? I'm not that stupid. Jin Lily kept nodding, it's fine if it's not, it's fine if it's not, but you have to do what you say. Mr. Xia shook his head helplessly. He slowed down the car and said to Jin Lily, okay, find some topic and tell it to me. The figures of Chen Ming and Xiao Zhao immediately appeared in Jin Lily's mind, and she almost shouted, I saw Chen Ming. Jin Lily thought about it for a while, but still didn't say it. She felt that saying this now might be another blow to Mr. Xia. She thought of her master's words of taking pleasure in hardship. Jin Lily thought for a while and then told Mr. Xia what Lu Ligan told her yesterday. Mr. Xia seemed to calm down slowly as he listened. He listened carefully to Jin Lily's words and clapped his hands. Steering wheel, praised. Okay, this is a good step, and you have good sense. What kind of vision do they have? Both of them have made themselves paupers. Woman's opinion, Mr. Xia scolded, if a person doesn't even have the courage to risk everything, how can he achieve anything great? Why didn't I see you put all your money into it, and you would be empty-handed? Jin Lily said halfway, but couldn't continue. She felt that the rest of it was a bit unpleasant. A white wolf with nothing, right? Jin Lily nodded. The stages and projects are different. If we all use our own funds to do this Sanya project, it will be far beyond our capabilities. Even if the hotel can be built, we will not have the follow-up funds to support it until it pays off. One day, if I make a desperate move, it will be suicide and I will end up with the same fate as Chen Ming. They are different. 50,000 yuan is still within their ability. If they don't dare to gamble, then they might as well go home. Even if they lose 50,000 yuan, it won't affect them. At most, it will teach them a lesson. To put it lightly, $50,000 will buy you a lesson. Do you think anyone is as rich as you? Jin Lily said. Mr. Xia smiled, do you think I spent less money to buy lessons? There are many thanks. You have to taste it yourself and feel the pain in your heart. Only then will you understand. Others tell you 10,000 it's no use. You, fellow countrymen, are too smart. I'll leave it here. This guy will become a great person in the future. By the way, this reminds me. After we return to Haikan, we have to look for it to see if there are any such opportunities on both sides of Longkan South Road. I estimate that within 3 months, everyone will see what's going on here. Business opportunities. Jin Lily stopped talking and felt her face burning. She thought, Mr. Xia is an expert. He is an expert. He can see clearly at a glance. What he said last night was really nonsense and pretending to be an expert. It turns out that he is the expert. A fool. Is this 10% clearly divided between Xiao Zhang and Xiao Lu? Let me tell you, in 1 or 2 years, this 10% will not be a small number, Mr. Xia said. Really? Jin Lily shouted excitedly. Of course it's true. It doesn't matter to them. Those who wear a pair of pants are just like. Jin Lily said, and thought of Chen Ming again, so she did not continue. Just like me and Chen Ming, right? But in the end, didn't I still play tricks on him? Mr. Xia's face sank. After a while, he continued, it's better to make a clear division. The so-called brothers will settle the scores, but don't talk about it now. What hurts the brotherhood is often the woman talking behind the scenes. You look down on people so much, Jin Lily scolded, but I won't tell them, and they don't need others to tell me. Their relationship is really different. Well, I hope you're right. They stopped at a roadside restaurant, had a quick lunch, and continued walking. They arrived in Sanya at around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. When they drove to Jinling Resort, Jin Lily saw Lao Bao's car parked in front of the door. In the parking lot, Jin Lily shouted, Lao Bao is still in the company. Mr. Xia sneered and said, if he is still here, he is stupid. The two people hurriedly walked inside. When they arrived at the door of the office, it was closed. Jin Lily took out the key from his pocket and opened the door. There was no one inside. Jin Lily saw Lao Bao lying quietly on the table at a glance. Car and office room keys. Jin Lily hurried over and saw that the key to the drawer in Lao Bao's office was also inserted into the keyhole. She opened the drawers one by one, but they were all empty. Look at yourself, Mr. Xia shouted. Jin Lily ran back to her desk to take a look. The lock on the drawer had been picked, and the cash account inside was missing. She touched the cabinet next to her desk with her hand, and the cabinet door opened automatically. Jin Lily hurriedly looked for it. I found that many of the signed agreements were missing. Look in the safe, Mr. Xia said. Jin Lily shook her head, it's okay, the safe will be fine. Lao Bao doesn't know the password to my safe. Having said that, Jin Lily still opened the safe. She saw that the more than 30,000 yuan in cash was still there, but she rummaged through the entire safe and could not find a book. In that book, every time they gave money was recorded. The name, time, and amount of the gift given by the relevant person. Jin Lily fell down on the chair. It seemed that Lao Bao had already assigned the key to the safe and peeked at the password when he usually opened the safe. This bastard has planned this for a long time. Mr. Xia was so angry that his teeth were itching. Jin Lily knew the importance of this book. She almost cried and whispered, Mr. Xia, I'm sorry. Mr. Xia waved his hand, I don't blame you. If I do, I blame myself. I didn't control myself this morning. I should have stabilized this bastard first, and then settled the accounts with him when we arrived in Sanya. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 195. Jin Lily detained Lao Bao, but Lao Bao never called back. Mr. Xia said that this bastard was planning to go all the way until the darkest time. He knew we were looking for him and would not call back. Jin Lily went to find people at the hotel. They didn't know when Lao Bao left. Finally, a security guard said that he saw Lao Bao leaving in a taxi at noon. Jin Lily calculated the time. After talking to Mr. Xia, Lao Bao felt that they would come to Sanya, packed up his things, and left. Jin Lily told the front desk of the hotel not to open the office door to Lao Bao if he came again. She checked out the room where Lao Bao lived and told the front desk that if he saw Lao Bao, he should call her. Mr. Xia and Jin Lily went to the construction site. They called the second guy over first. They felt it was inconvenient to tell him directly that Lao Bao was no longer in their company. Mr. Xia thought about it and told the second guy that if Lao Bao tells you what are you doing? Don't listen. Did this bastard rebel? The second-rate guy asked them. The two of them were stunned. Mr. Xia asked, how do you know? This forced guy came to me yesterday and told me to stop working, and I felt it was wrong. I told him that I don't listen to your party A's instructions. If he wants to stop working, then we, Mr. Tan, should notify me, and I ignored him. The second-hand guy said. Mr. Xia praised, you did the right thing. Yes, he is no longer from our company. I know this guy who was forced to come. I guess he won't dare to come. If he dares to come, I will tie him up and wait for you to deal with it, the second guy shouted. After the bastard left, Mr. Xia and Jin Lily looked at each other and laughed. Mr. Xia said, I didn't expect this bastard to have a clear mind. It seems that Lao Tan did not make a mistake in sending him here. Mr. Xia then called manager CAI of the construction team and told him that Lao Bao is no longer in our company. If you have anything to do with the project, you can call me directly or ask Xiao Jin. Manager CAI said yes. Jin Lily left her BB phone number and office phone number with manager CAI. Seeing manager CAI's expression flashing when he was talking to them, Mr. Xia became confused and asked, do you know where Lao Bao is? Manager CAI seemed to be taken aback and quickly said, I don't know, Mr. Xia, I really don't know. Then is there anything else you haven't told me? Mr. Xia asked. Manager CAI hesitated for a while, then finally plucked up the courage and said, hey, that bastard, Lao Bao, took 50,000 yuan from me yesterday. Jin Lily was surprised. She looked at Mr. Xia. Mr. Xia didn't seem surprised. He asked manager CAI, kickback. Yes, manager CAI nodded. This guy said that he could find a way to give me the 1 million as soon as possible. He also told me that he could help me expand the project volume. He asked me for 50,000. Now look, this guy is tricking me. Get a fortune before leaving, huh, of course he is tricking you, Mr. Xia sneered. Lao Cai, remember, in this project of mine, as long as you do the job well, you will get the money you deserve. I promise I won't delay you for a day. Manager Cai quickly said yes. If I see someone else, I will get this 50,000 back for you, Mr. Xia said. It's not easy for you to earn this amount of money. Manager Cai quickly said thank you, thank you. Manager Cai stood up to leave, but Mr. Xia stopped him and told him, why did he take the 50,000 yuan from you? Write down everything he said to you, so that when I see him, I can get it back for you. Otherwise, if he denies it and says he doesn't have it, I can't do anything about it. Manager Cai said yes, but immediately became embarrassed. He scratched his head and said to Mr. Xia, only the few characters I know, I can't even read a comic book. How can I write them? Mr. Xia asked him to talk while Jin Lily memorized it. After he finished memorizing it, Jin Lily read it to him. He said, that's right. Mr. Jin is so awesome. Why do you write as if you are right next to me? Both Mr. Xia and Jin Lily laughed. Mr. Xia asked manager Cai if there was anything wrong. That's right, that's it, manager Cai said. Mr. Xia asked manager Cai to sign the piece of paper, and then put the piece of paper into his bag. After manager Pan left, Mr. Xia and Jin Lily said that we should rush back to Haikan immediately. I guess this bastard also went to Haikan. Then here. There won't be anything going on at the construction site for the time being. Manager Cai and the second-hand guys are keeping an eye on it. There are other things that are still being done. It's useless for us to stay here. We didn't see this bastard take everything away. We can only find a way to find him first. When Mr. Xia said this, he looked worried. He said, "What I'm most worried about is that this guy doesn't know the heights of the world and will go to those important connections in our company, thinking that he can poach us." "Isn't it that simple?" Jin Lily asked. "It's not that simple, but as long as we go there, we will lose face. People who run a business like ours are most afraid that we will not be able to control ourselves and there will be a fire in the backyard." Jin Lily nodded. As soon as Mr. Xia said it, she understood the truth. Indeed, what people are most worried about is that a fire in your backyard will affect his pond fish. "Whether he goes or not, I will go and vaccinate each one first," Mr. Xia said, to minimize the possible losses. The two people left the construction site and did not even go to Jinling Resort. Instead, they went directly back to Haikan. On the way, Jin Lily had one thing that he didn't want to understand and asked Mr. Xia, "This guy, Lao Bao, even wants to come to manager CAI to cheat. The money is in my safe, more than 30,000 yuan, why hasn't he touched any of it?" "He doesn't dare," Mr. Xia said. "Why? Whether it's money or cars, if he dares to touch it, it's a theft of company property. We can call the police directly. He also knows our relationship with the police." Jin Lily nodded and understood. She asked, "What about those contracts? Isn't that company property?" "Yes, and no, those things, in turn, have a word called evidence. He can say that the reason why he took these away was because he was afraid that we would destroy the evidence that could prove our illegal behavior. This guy is really scheming. It seems he has a good." Jin Lily looked at Mr. Xia and stopped talking. Mr. Xia smiled bitterly, took over Jin Lily's words and said, "He has a good master, right?" When they returned to Haikan, it was already past 10 o'clock in the evening. As soon as they parked the car, someone got out of a police car opposite. Jin Lily saw that it was Zhou Zhang, from the political department of Haikan City Public Security Bureau, or Mr. Xia. Some relative of mine often comes to their company to play. While he was still on the road, Mr. Xia called him and told him the matter. Zhou Zhang came over and handed them a bunch of keys. He told Mr. Xia that that guy had never been here before. "I had already asked someone to change the lock on your office." Mr. Xia said, "Yes, thank you for your hard work," and kept watch all afternoon. Zhou Zhang shook his head, "Why bother? Your business is not my business." Mr. Xia handed the key to Jin Lily and told her, "Go upstairs. If someone knocks on the door, don't open it. I have to go to several places. You can give me a ride." "I'm exhausted after driving for a day," Mr. Xia said to Zhou Zhang, and Zhou Zhang agreed to take my car. The two people arrived at the opposite side, got into Zhou Zhang's car, and drove away. Jin Lily knew that Mr. Xia was here to deal with the emergency crisis and take care of the funeral. She turned around and went upstairs alone. When she reached the elevator entrance in the basement, she suddenly became nervous. She thought, if Lao Bao was waiting at the door upstairs, what should I do if I encounter myself? What evidence would he take away if he wanted to enter the company? I definitely want to stop him, and he will definitely refuse. So if a fight breaks out, how can I beat this bucktooth? Will he bite me? The more Jin Lily thought about it, the more frightened she became. After thinking about it, she ran to the gate of the community and saw that the security guard on duty tonight was the wild boar vehicle that Zhang Chen and the others were familiar with. The wild boar vehicle saw Jin Lily came over and smiled at her too. Jin Lily told him that when she just went upstairs and got out of the elevator, she saw what seemed to be a person squatting there in the corridor, and she was so frightened that she ran away. Wild Boar's vehicle told her that it was either from the company next door, and it couldn't be anyone else. He was on duty and not a single mosquito could fly in. Wild Boar's vehicle called through the intercom. After a while, another security guard came over. Wild Boar's vehicle said to Jin Lily, "Come on, I will accompany you up." The two people went upstairs, but there was no one in the corridor. Wild Boar's vehicle clapped his hands and said to Jin Lily, "Look, isn't it? I just said there was no one." Wild Boar's vehicle watched Jin Lily open the door and go in. Then he said goodbye to Jin Lily and turned to go downstairs. Jin Lily thanked Wild Boar's vehicle, closed and locked the door, and then breathed a long sigh of relief. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi-Niang. Chapter 196. After dinner, Zhang Chen was sitting in the office. He was about to ask Jin Lily when she left in the morning and why he didn't know at all. The phone on the table rang. Zhang Chen picked it up and there was a small phone inside. The girl called, "Is it Mr. Zhang?" Zhang Chen said yes. "Your people are in front, and they are about to start a fight." Zhang Chen was startled, quickly threw away the phone, and ran to the training hall in the work shed, looking for Xiao Wu. Xiao Wu's dozen apprentices and Yi Lin were all there, but Xiao Wu was not seen. Zhang Chen immediately I couldn't care so much, so I told the dozen or so people, "Follow me, there was a fight." Everyone cheered and followed Zhang Chen. They ran to the front and saw a large circle of people surrounding the hotel parking lot. A security guard saw Zhang Chen coming and quickly told him to pull your people away. "Now here, is busy." Zhang Chen squeezed into the crowd and was startled. He saw Xiao Wu in the crowd, and Ji Unqiang standing beside him. Opposite them, there were 7 or 8 tall guys standing. Zhang Chen seemed to understand something. He asked Xiao and Ji Unqiang, "What happened?" Ji Unqiang's face turned pale with fright, and he was trembling and speechless. Xiao Wu said disdainfully, "It's okay, a few dickheads are just trying to find trouble." The leader of the other party pointed at Ji Unqiang and asked, "Is he this idiot?" The person behind him nodded. "It was him, Brother Zheng, we have been waiting for him for 2 days, and we bumped into him here today." "Take him away," Brother Zheng said to his men. "Who dares?" Xiao Wu shouted. Brother Zheng's men wanted to come over to arrest Ji Unqiang. Xiao Wu's dozen apprentices and Yi Lin all squeezed into the crowd. They lined up around Xiao Wu and the others. When those people saw so many people, they were a little hesitant. He stood still. Brother Zheng clasped his hands on his chest and sneered, "You idiots outnumber people, right? Well, believe me or not, everyone is here and I can scare you to death. Only idiots need more people. It's just a few of you." "I can do it alone," Xiao Wu said. Brother Zheng and his men looked at him and laughed. At this time, motorcycles kept coming, forcing their way into the parking lot. The security guards couldn't stop them. Most of the motorcycles came with 3 people. One car came down and walked behind Brother Zheng and the others. They were all Brother Zheng's men. In addition, it was dinner time again, and customers and a dozen security guards from Wanghai Tower also gathered around. In just a few minutes, the parking lot was filled with people. Manager Yan from the Wanghailu security department also squeezed into the crowd. He obviously knew Brother Zheng, and he asked Brother Zheng what was going on. Brother Zheng pointed at Ji Unqiang and said to Manager Yan, "This idiot broke my rules." Manager Yan asked Zhang Chen, "Mr. Zhang, is this from your company?" Before Zhang Chen could answer, Xiao Wu said, "This has nothing to do with the company, he is my brother." Manager Yan knew that Xiao Wu was Zhang Chen's subordinate, but did not know him. Manager Yan looked at Brother Zheng, then at Zhang Chen, and told them that we are busy here now. Brother Zheng said, "I know, I'll take the people and leave. Otherwise, I'm afraid there will be more and more people here." Manager Yan and Zhang Chen said, "Mr. Zhang, if this person is not from your company, just let someone take him away. Why is he meddling in so many other things?" "No, he is my friend," Xiao Wu said. Zhang Chen nodded, he's also my friend. If you want to talk, you can. Let's go to the office behind to talk. We can't take him away. Manager Yan rubbed his hands and said awkwardly, oh, what can I do? You two are my friends. Manager Yan pointed at Zhang Chen and said to Brother Zhang specifically, Mr. Zhang is also a good friend of Mr. Fu. This reputation. I'll give it, Brother Zhang said, today's matter has nothing to do with Mr. Zhang, nor does it have anything to do with their company. I understand. Xiao Wu smiled and said, then it has something to do with me. That's fine. I'll bear the responsibility alone. How do you want to solve it, fist or knife? Brother Zhang smiled slightly, it's quite loud, that's okay. I haven't heard anyone talk to me like that for a long time. Okay, 1-to-1 or several to several, you decide. I'm the only one here anyway. How many can you send? You can send them yourself. Xiao Wu said, and everyone on Brother Zhang's side laughed. The people around Xiao Wu yelled back, with both southern and northern accents. At this time, dozens of people surrounded Xiao Wu, not only his apprentices, but also people on the construction site. Other workers came too. Okay, you are all heroes. If you want to solve the problem, I will provide a venue. Manager Yan looked around. He saw the original lobby and knew that it had been demolished. It was very spacious now. He said, let's go inside and solve the problem. Well, let me be the middleman. Brother Zheng agreed and walked towards the old lobby. After saying that, his people also wanted to follow. Manager Yan shouted, why the hell are there so many people there, starting a group fight? I don't care if there is a group fight. Brother Zheng and the people below yelled, get away. However, 7 or 8 people still followed him. Xiao Wu and Jiang said, you come in with me and no one else comes. Xiao Wu's disciples said, okay. Those disciples all listened to Xiao Wu's words and stood there stupidly. Only Yilin followed. Manager Yan walked up to Zhang Chen and whispered, are you people idiots? Zhang Chen understood, and he ordered 7 or 8 of Xiao Wu's apprentices to follow him. Manager Yan and the security guard said, okay, keep everyone else outside. If there's anything interesting to see, just disperse. Manager Yan and Zhang Chen also entered the old lobby. Turn on all the lights. If you want to fight, let's fight clearly, Manager Yan shouted, and immediately a worker ran over and turned on the few temporary small suns installed in the old lobby. The lobby was as bright as day. Zhang Chen walked over and pulled Yilin and Jiang to his side. He pressed Yilin's shoulders with both hands, fearing that the little guy would be impulsive and run in to join the fight later. Manager Yan walked between the two groups of people and told them that no matter what, everyone should be reasonable when they come out to fool around. In this way, he is the only one here. What is your name? Xiao Wu. Zhang Chen said. Okay, here is Xiao Wu alone, and there will be one from your side, Zheng, until one of them is knocked down, okay. Xiao Wu said whatever. Zheng said yes. Zheng, if you win, what do you want? That's a long way to go, JB, just hit him, we'll talk about it after the fight. As Brother Zheng said, he took off his clothes and became shirtless. His upper body, chest, back and arms were all covered with tattoos. Yilin exclaimed in amazement. Xiao Wu turned his head and smiled at Yilin. The two stood still. Brother Zheng was a head taller than Xiao Wu. He glanced sideways at Xiao Wu, and Xiao Wu lifted up his pants out of habit. There was no need for Manager Yan to shout start. Brother Zheng had already come over with a punch. Xiao Wu was already prepared. He lowered his head, took a step closer and hit Brother Zheng in the lower abdomen with an elbow. Brother Zheng grinned and retreated. The next 2 steps. Xiao Wu took another step closer, wanting to take the opportunity to attack. Unexpectedly, Brother Zheng took 2 steps back and stood still, and then took a step forward. The two of them were close. Brother Zheng hit Xiao Wu in the face with an uppercut. Xiao Wu was about to retreat. It was too late, and he turned to one side and did a side somersault to avoid it. Brother Zheng and his men were stunned. After so many fights, they had never come across someone doing somersaults during a fight. Is this a martial arts movie? Brother Zheng was stunned for a moment, and when he turned around again, his reaction was already too late. Xiao Wu did a side somersault, stood firm, and launched a straight punch. Brother Zheng was turning around, but it was too late to avoid him. In addition, he was taller and Xiao Wu was taller. Short, this punch hit his neck. Brother Zheng felt suffocated for a moment, staggered twice and fell to the ground. Okay, Yilin and Xiao Wu's disciples shouted and applauded desperately. As soon as Brother Zheng fell to the ground, he got up. He was a little angry and forgot about the agreement that Manager Yan just said, whoever falls to the ground will lose. He rushed towards Xiao Wu again. Xiao Wu turned sideways and raised his feet. One kick, this one didn't hit, but it frightened Brother Zheng and made him lean back. Xiao Wu followed up with a straight punch with his right hand, and Brother Zheng also followed up with a straight punch to meet Xiao Wu's fist. If the two of them met, their hands would definitely be smashed, and everyone around was shocked. Call out. Unexpectedly, Xiao Wu's punch was a feint. He pulled back halfway through the punch. Brother Zheng's punch was too strong and he stumbled forward. Xiao Wu made a swinging punch with his left hand. This punch was the real one. The actual move hit Brother Zheng firmly on the right cheek, causing Brother Zheng to fall to the ground again. When Brother Zheng's men saw it, they all rushed over. Xiao Wu's apprentice here also rushed over. The stun gun in Manager Yan's hand crackled and he shouted loudly. Everyone, get back. Everyone, get back. There's going to be another humming gang fight. Not long after the stun gun came out at that time, the rumors about it in the society were very mysterious, so everyone was still a little afraid of it. People on both sides retreated when they heard the crackling sound of the stun gun. Xiao Wu pressed his knee against Brother Zheng's chest. Brother Zheng struggled but couldn't get up. Manager Yan went to pull Xiao Wu and said to him, "Let go, the victory or defeat is decided." Xiao Wu shouted to Brother Zheng, "Remember clearly, my name is Xiao Wu. I work right behind here. I go home alone at around 9 o'clock every night. If you don't accept it, bring someone to block me, or we'll have another fight." Manager Yan pulled Xiao Wu away, and two of Brother Zheng's men quickly helped Brother Zheng. Brother Zheng threw them both away, turned around and left. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Niang. Chapter 197. Manager Yan shouted, "Zheng! You just humming left like that? Isn't it too interesting?" Brother Zheng turned around and looked at Manager Yan angrily, "You still have a humming fart." Manager Yan scolded, "What are you doing? Are you going to come to me again? Are you going to come to me? Are you going to come to me?" Brother Zheng stopped talking and turned his head away. Manager Yan and Xiao Wu said, "If you have any demands, tell them that you won." Xiao Wu and Brother Zheng said, "I don't care what you do. If you don't interfere with the river, I won't trouble you. If you still dare to trouble my friends, then I'm sorry, I, Xiao Wu, will beat you until you don't dare. If I show up on Haixiu Road again, I will keep my promise." Xiao Wu turned around and said to Jianqiang, "If anyone from them, no matter which hotel they are in, dares to stop you again, just tell me." Jianqiang said yes. Manager Yan said to Brother Zheng, "Did you hear that? I don't have high requirements. How much business can a one-man business take away from you? Don't be so stingy. Just leave if you hear clearly." Brother Zheng led his men and left in despair. Manager Yan patted Xiao Wu on the shoulder and said to him, "Yes, I have long disliked these guys, and I know how to bully others by relying on a large number of people. No. Manager Yan looked at Jianqiang and asked Zhang Chen, is this really your friend? Zhang Chen said yes. Manager Yan turned around and called a security guard and said to him, tell your captain, please take care of this. The security guard said yes. Zhang Chen and Jianqiang, quickly say thank you to Manager Yan. Zhang Chen, Xiao Wu, and Yi Lin returned to the office. Zhang Chen asked Xiao Wu, what happened today? Xiao Wu said, after dinner, I walked around in front and met Jianqiang. The two of them were sitting on the flower bed chatting. Then these guys came and told Jianqiang to go with them. Of course I had to stop them. Zhang Chen nodded. He said that this day will come sooner or later. Fortunately, you are by my side today. I estimate that as long as you are here, they will not dare to cause trouble for Jianqiang for the time being. However, they will trouble you secretly. You still have to be careful. After all, you are in the light and they are in the dark. I'm afraid, as long as they don't beat me to death, I will get up and kill them, Xiao Wu shouted. Yilin was very excited and kept chattering, gesticulating with his hands while talking. Zhang Chen and Yilin said, you can't hit people like this when you get to school. Xiao Wu said, if anyone bullies you, you can beat them. Zhang Chen smiled and said, okay, listen to your master, you can beat those who bully you. You remember, Yilin, when you are one-on-one, you must strike faster than others, and the first punch must be harsh, hitting the opponent's vital points directly. I have already told you, what are the vital points of a person, you have you forgotten? Neither side knows the details of each other. If you stun the other party with one move, the other party will be afraid. Once he is afraid, you will use your moves to gain the upper hand. Xiao Wu said to Yilin. Yilin nodded, he said I understand. Zhang Chen smiled and said, I learned it too. Master, what if many people hit you? Yilin asked. Xiao Wu looked at Yilin and said, then you identify one person to fight. If you are sure, identify the strongest one. If you are not sure, identify the weakest one. Don't worry about the others. You only need to target one person. When someone is beaten badly, other people will look scared. In such a scene, usually as long as one person escapes first, the others will follow. Okay, then I will specifically pick Fu Jianjun to fight. Yilin shouted. Zhang Chen and Xiao Wu both laughed. It seemed that Yilin had been bullied by many people. The one he hated the most was Fu Jianjun. Xiao Wu and Yilin went back to the training hall, and Zhang Chen followed them. The training hall was very lively. Not only Xiao Wu's apprentices, but also many who had not practiced boxing with him were also waiting for Xiao Wu. They want to start from today. Learn boxing from him. Zhang Chen thought to himself that Xiao Wu became famous in this battle. It would be impossible for Xiao Wu and his disciples not to become famous on Haixiu Road. I am afraid that Wanghai Tower in Haikan will soon become the Wu opera troops, just like Yongcheng. Wanghai Tower will occupy a piece of Haikan's underground power territory. No matter how much you say that the water in the well will not interfere with the water in the river, the water in the well will always be wary of whether the water in the well will flood the well if the water in the river rises. Zhang Chen called out one of Xiao Wu's apprentices from inside and told him, you guys organize it quietly. When your master goes back from get off work every day, you have 4 or 5 people following him. Don't let your master know. If he knows, he will definitely not let you follow him. The man understood and told him that after knowing Mr. Zhang, we will definitely protect master's safety. At around 10 o'clock, Zhang Chen was in the office and waited until Xiao Wu's apprentices came back and told him that they followed Xiao Wu and Yilin to Yilin's house. They saw Xiao Wu and Yilin enter the door and then came back. Behind the master, no one else was found following him. Zhang Chen was relieved and told them that they would continue tomorrow. Those disciples all agreed. You should also be careful here. Our construction site works at night, so beware of them coming to cause trouble at night. I have already made an agreement with Manager Yan. If something happens later, you will immediately send someone to the front to call, and their security guards will also come. Someone shouted, "What's the use of the security guards? They all wear the same pair of pants." Of course it's for self-protection, but when the security comes, they have to show off. They don't dare not do it, otherwise I'll go find Mr. Fu. Zhang Chen told them that he thought to himself that Mr. Fu was the real boss of this company. If something happened to the company, how could Mr. Fu just let it go? From what Manager Yan and Brother Zheng said earlier, it can be heard that Mr. Fu still has a deterrent effect on these gangsters, or simply, he is their boss. In this society, there is no such thing as gangsters and white gangs. The reason why gangsters are rampant is because the white gangs have made room for them. If the gangsters don't show their face and exert their strength to squeeze, they will be squeezed into the cracks. Xiao Wu's disciples have made it clear that if anything happens, we will detain you and Master Wu. Zhang Chen returned to Wenming East and opened the door downstairs. He was slightly surprised when he saw the patio behind the hall was filled with bright light. Kejin's room on the first floor was still dark. The two of them and Xiaolin must have gone there. "Where are you? This light comes from upstairs." Zhang Chen didn't know how long it had been. When he got home, he opened the door and it was dark inside. Kejin and Xiaolin always came back very late. There was no one on the second floor. Gu Shufang didn't know whether she was there or not on the third floor. But the lights in all the rooms were dark, and no sound could be heard. Zhang Chen felt that he could hardly remember what Gu Shufang looked like. This house seems to be accustomed to everyone existing in such a state. This state has a beginning, but I don't know if it will end. At least Zhang Chen, he didn't expect that today would end so suddenly. Zhang Chen walked a few steps and reached the patio on the first floor. He looked up and saw that the lights in Gu Shufang's 3 rooms on the third floor were all on. To Zhang Chen's surprise, the lights in the office on the second floor were also on. Zhang Chen went upstairs and walked to the door of his room. He turned around and saw that his desk and sofa were empty. He took 2 steps over there curiously and saw Gu Shufang. Sitting in her seat, she was sitting inside, so Zhang Chen didn't see her at first glance. Zhang Chen stood in the corridor for a while and thought about it. Instead of going back to his room, he went directly to the office. Today he had some documents to hand over to Gu Shufang. Gu Shufang was here, so he didn't have to leave papers for her. That's right. Besides, whether Zhang Chen admits it or not, he actually really wants to see her and know how she is doing now. Zhang Chen walked in. Gu Shufang had obviously felt it, or was waiting for Zhang Chen to come in. She sat up straight and froze there. Zhang Chen could see her white hands, lying quietly on the table. "I didn't pick up a book, a pen, or a report." Zhang Chen walked to his desk, did not sit down, but looked at Gu Shufang opposite and called, "Sister Shufang." Gu Shufang trembled. She did not raise her head to look at Zhang Chen, but just said softly Zhang Chen was about to sit down, but Gu Shufang stood up and whispered, "Follow me." She stood up and took 2 steps. She turned around and saw that Zhang Chen was still stunned. Gu Shufang continued, "I have something to ask you." After saying that, Gu Shufang went upstairs. Zhang Chen thought for a moment, and there were 2 voices in his mind, one said to go and the other said not to go, but he still followed him involuntarily. When he walked to the door of the office, Gu Shufang was turning around the stairs. Zhang Chen turned the office, the lights were turned off and the door was closed. When he walked to the stairs, Gu Shufang turned off the lights in the dining room and kitchen. When Zhang Chen walked to the stairs on the 3rd floor, Gu Shufang was walking into the living room. Zhang Chen took a deep breath and walked over. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 198. When Zhang Chen walked to the door of the living room, he saw Gu Shufang already sitting on the chair where she used to sit when she was a model. Gu Shufang watched Zhang Chen come in and told him to close the door. Zhang Chen closed the door. Gu Shufang pointed to the chair next to her and said to Zhang Chen, "Sit here." Zhang Chen hesitated, and Gu Shufang smiled, "Why, you don't even dare to sit down anymore, are you afraid that I will eat you?" Zhang Chen walked over and sat down on the chair next to her. After Zhang Chen sat down, he looked around and didn't see his painting. Gu Shufang seemed to know what he was looking for and asked, "Are you looking for your unfinished work?" Zhang Chen nodded awkwardly. Gu Shufang said softly, "It's not here. Although it's an unfinished draft, I like it very much. It's in the bedroom. Do you want to see it?" Zhang Chen was embarrassed and didn't know how to answer. Gu Shufang chuckled. The two sat for a while, and Zhang Chen finally calmed down and asked Gu Shufang, "Sister Shufang, you said you have something to ask me, what is it?" Gu Shufang nodded. She took a document from the coffee table on the other side of the chair. There was also an invoice on the document. She handed it to Zhang Chen and said slowly, "Look at this money for me, what's going on?" Zhang Chen took it and took a look, his head buzzed, and he felt cold all over. He saw the invoice, which was the invoice he asked Boss Lin to issue for 248,700 yuan for imported stone. The one below, it's a warehouse receipt. This amount was actually to pay the construction fee of Guangzhou manager Pan and his colleagues who were responsible for building the secret room. Mr. Fu had repeatedly confessed to himself that Gu Shufang should not let Gu Shufang know about this money, so he came up with this trick and asked Boss Lin to help. How could Gu Shufang find out that there was something wrong with the payment for the stone? "I wonder if you have forgotten that I told you that I am a very good accountant and nothing can escape my eyes," Gu Shufang asked, her tone turning cold. "What do you mean?" Zhang Chen asked. "Has this batch of stones arrived?" Gu Shufang asked. Zhang Chen gritted his teeth and could only say, "We're here." "Where is the thing now?" "Already used." "Yeah." Of course, the more Zhang Chen said, the weaker he felt. He felt cold sweat running down his back. Gu Shufang was no longer that person, cooking for herself, sitting opposite him, smiling lightly. Gu Shufang. She is no longer even the Gu Shufang who hugged herself from behind and told herself, I don't care, I won't let you go." This is the Gu Shufang who told herself, "This is my daughter's money, and you can't touch a cent of it." Gu Shufang stared at Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen felt that the best way for him was to meet her gaze and look at her calmly, but he really did not have the courage. He could only lower his head and pretend I was looking at the delivery slip on purpose. Gu Shufang stood up, walked to Zhang Chen, stretched out her left hand, and held Zhang Chen's hand holding the list. She tapped her right hand lightly on the list and said, "I have already asked the warehouse manager about this signature, and she said that she has never seen this list before." Of course, this word was not signed by her. Zhang Chen tried to pull his hand out of Gu Shufang's hand, but failed to do so, so he didn't dare to do it again. He felt that his hand was trembling. He tried his best to control himself, trying to calm himself down, but what happened? "I can't calm down either." Then, here comes the question. Since this signature was not signed by the warehouse manager, who signed it? Ha! Gu Shufang sneered, "You are such a good painter, if you were asked to imitate a signature, you would be wrong. Wouldn't it be simple?" Zhang Chen felt that he had fallen into an ice hole, his whole body was cold, but his head was swollen and numb, and he was about to explode. Zhang Chen knew that he could say anything, but he could not betray Mr. Fu. If he revealed that the money was Mr. Fu, he would have to spend it. Yes, or Mr. Fu knows, then it's over. Gu Shufang will call Mr. Fu immediately. Now that things have come to a point, I have no choice but to carry it to the end. Zhang Chen used some force and pulled his hand out of Gu Shufang's hand. Pretending to be casual, he threw the list and invoice towards the chair where Gu Shufang was sitting. He raised his head and looked at Gu Shufang. Said, "I have so many orders to sign every day. You took out this one, and it's been so long. How do I know? If it were you, do you remember it clearly?" Gu Shufang stood in front of Zhang Chen and looked at him from above. Zhang Chen could smell the faint fragrance on her body and saw that on her chin, because of her white skin, there were light green meridians and capillaries looming. Her skin is really white, so white that it makes her serious and ruthless. Gu Shufang nodded, "I remember it clearly and helped you remember it clearly. There are no problems with your other accounts, not even a dime, just this one." I can't remember. Zhang Chen could only cheat. He didn't know what else he could do. "Okay, then let me ask you, if I go to the store tomorrow and show this invoice and list to the store owner, what will he say? Also, if I go to the construction site, can you point out these stones to me and use them? Where are they? 250,000 stones is not a small amount. I think the hotel lobby has not started construction yet and there is no space yet. So many imported stones will be used, right?" Zhang Chen felt that he had nothing to say. If he continued to argue, even he would feel that there were many loopholes. But when Gu Shufang called her upstairs to ask about this matter, she had already done a good job in advance. Indeed, whether she goes to Boss Lin to ask questions tomorrow or goes to the construction site to see it, the lie about the 250,000 stone materials will be self-evident. Zhang Chen was silent and did not dare to look at Gu Shufang again. The only thing he could do now was to say nothing. But what would be the result of saying nothing? Zhang Chen didn't know. If Gu Shufang continued to investigate, how can I cope with it myself? Should you bear it all yourself? So what if Gu Shufang wants to chase the 250,000 yuan? Gu Shufang said that these are her daughter's money and she will definitely recover them. Where can I get the 250,000? If you don't take the blame, who can you blame it on? Fu is always the one who cannot get rid of him, but he can't mention Fu and he can't carry it, so this matter will be endless. In the end, it will still be a mess. The worst thing is that he is the one who will kill himself no matter what. Zhang Chen felt clueless. For the first time, he felt that his brain was so weak and his mouth was so stupid. Whatever he said would hurt him. Gu Shufang looked at the person in front of her with affection, pity, and a little disappointment. The two people faced each other like this. After a long time, Gu Shufang sighed softly. "You are so pitiful," Gu Shufang said. Zhang Chen looked up at her, wondering what she meant by pitiful. "You are also stupid," Gu Shufang continued. Zhang Chen shook his head, still didn't understand. Gu Shufang put her hands on Zhang Chen's head and inserted her fingers into his hair. Zhang Chen's blood surged upwards. He sat there, not daring to move, feeling that he was stiff. "If you were short of money, why didn't you tell me?" Gu Shufang sighed again. "You little fool, you disappoint me very much." Zhang Chen was speechless. "Okay, it's over, don't be afraid." Gu Shufang changed her tone and said gently. She was no longer the Gu Shufang who said, "This is my daughter's money and you can't touch a cent of it. As long as you listen to me, I will give you whatever you want." Gu Shufang gently held Zhang Chen's head with both hands, keeping Zhang Chen's head close to her body. Gu Shufang murmured in her sleep, "Do you know that for you, I will give up anything, let alone this little money? If you are short of money, just ask and I will give it." Zhang Chen felt his head explode with a bang. He understood what Gu Shufang meant, and suddenly felt an indescribable disgust. If today, Gu Shufang asked him to come up, told him with a low eyebrow, how painful she was, and then held Zhang Chen's hand with her white hand, with tears in her eyes, Zhang Chen himself was not sure how hard he would use it to comfort her. If so, He wasn't even sure whether he could go downstairs today. But Gu Shufang used this method to make Jiang Chen feel threatened. He felt that if he fell down, what would be the difference between him and Ding Dong? He hated this kind of threat, hated the situation he was in now, and hated this exchange relationship between them. Jiang Chen stood up suddenly, almost knocking Gu Shufang down and startling Gu Shufang. Jiang Chen walked to the door without saying a word, opened the door and walked out. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 199. Jiang Chen spent this night in anxiety. As long as there was a slight movement outside the room, he would jump out of bed, wondering if Gu Shufang had come downstairs. Sometimes he also suspected that he heard Gu Shufang above his head. He walked back and forth in the room, and even stamped his feet once or twice. Jiang Chen didn't know if it was his hallucination or if it was real. Gu Shufang's room was carpeted, so logically speaking, he couldn't hear her movements. Jiang Chen was lying on the bed, staring at the ceiling above his head, thinking wildly. At about 2 o'clock in the morning, Jiang Chen fell asleep in a daze, and was suddenly woken up. He heard a woman's cry, and Jiang Chen was suddenly awakened. He thought he heard it in his dream. He sat on the bed and listened carefully, and found that someone was indeed crying. The cry was clearly that of Gu Shufang. Jiang Chen thought to himself, it's over, Gu Shufang's endless crying, whether it's Xiaolin or Kejin, they will definitely hear it. If they hear it, Mr. Fu will know tomorrow. After listening to the reports of the two nieces, Mr. Fu will definitely become suspicious as to why Gu Shufang gets so nervous at home that she cries in the middle of the night. He will definitely understand it carefully. With this understanding, Mr. Fu may catch the clues about his relationship with Gu Shufang. Jiang Chen got out of bed, tiptoed to the door, and quietly opened the door. Although he had been careful, the door still made a click sound, which startled him. You must know that there are ears all around at this time. While listening to Gu Shufang's cry, they are also listening to everything else. If there is any sound, they will not let it go. Jiang Chen stopped holding the door handle, not daring to continue. He just stood in a door crack 7 or 8 centimeters wide, listening to what was going on outside. The moonlight poured in through the crack in the door, splitting him in half, just like his mood at the moment, hesitating, half wanting to move forward, half wanting to retreat. He wondered if he should go up and have a conversation with Gu Shufang to ease the relationship between them, or at least persuade her not to cry. But what scares Jiang Chen is that he doesn't know if there are alert eyes along with the listening ears. If he is careful, even if he can escape their ears, can he avoid their eyes at the same time? There was also the fatal question. He didn't know if he could come down if he went up, especially after Gu Shufang threatened him. When he went up now, it seemed to Gu Shufang that he had compromised, retreated, and was completely trapped. After being recruited, I unconditionally accepted Gu Shufang's request, which was to be good, obedient, don't leave, and stay to be her sweetheart. Then what has become of me, Jiang Chen? Gu Shufang continued to cry. Her cry was faint, sometimes it seemed far away, sometimes it was very close. Jiang Chen stood there, trembling constantly. He felt that Gu Shufang might cry if she cried. Go downstairs. He was too afraid that Gu Shufang would come to his door in tears. If that happened, whatever he did would be wrong, and no matter how he explained to Mr. Fu, it would be useless. Or, no one wants to listen to your explanation at all. Everyone knows this kind of thing well and can see the essence through the phenomenon. Do you still need to use your excuses? When thinking about this, Jiang Chen felt that before the worst result came, he might still go upstairs and kill or cut her. It was up to her, as long as you stopped crying. Zhang Chen opened the door and stood in a rectangular piece of white light outlined by the moonlight. He was about to step out when a man's roar suddenly sounded, which startled him. The crying stopped, and then turned into a roar, directed at the angry man. Only then did Zhang Chen realize clearly that the crying woman was not Gu Shufang, but a couple or lovers quarreling next door. Zhang Chen stood there, stunned for a moment, and then laughed out loud. He shook his head, returned to the room, closed the door, leaned behind the door, and continued to laugh wildly. Only then did he feel the pain on his back. It was sticky, and the clothes on his body were already soaked with cold sweat. Zhang Chen returned to the bed, fell down, and fell asleep soon. When he got up the next day, Zhang Chen opened the door and looked upstairs. He didn't see Gu Shufang. Zhang Chen breathed a sigh of relief. He quickly walked to the bathroom, washed up hastily, then carried his bag and held his thighs with his hands. Quickly ran away downstairs. When he got downstairs, Zhang Chen realized that he looked so much like Xiaolin. Zhang Chen felt shuddered and quickly slowed down. The whole morning, Zhang Chen sat in the office, worried and suspicious. He would look outside the door from time to time, worried that Gu Shufang would appear in his sight at any time. Still the same, holding a handkerchief in one hand, he kept saying, wiping the sweat from her face. Xiaolin followed beside her, holding an umbrella for her with a sullen expression. She would walk up to Zhang Chen and ask Zhang Chen to take her upstairs to see the imported stones. She must be bringing a calculator and a warehouse receipt, ready to check the quantity at any time. Look at you, there is not even an inch of imported stone on the construction site. What should I show you? Xiao Wu came in, and Zhang Chen asked him if he had seen Lin Zhao. I just saw him. He's upstairs. Do you want me to call him for you? Xiao Wu asked. No, 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 I'll go up by myself later, Zhang Chen said casually, secretly relieved. It was such a bright Sunday. If no one held an umbrella for her, Gu Shufang probably wouldn't go out, right? Did you ask those people to go yesterday? Xiao Wu asked Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen deliberately pretended to be stupid and said, who is he? Follow me and Yilin, the people from our construction site. Did you find out? Xiao Wu looked at him and shook his head helplessly. If I couldn't discover this, I wouldn't even know that someone had done it. Yesterday, I saw that Yilin was with me, so I asked them to follow me. If anything happened, they can take care of Yilin. Then today will be the same as usual. Don't even think about it, Xiao Wu scolded, they can send Yilin home. I'm going alone. I just want to see how much those idiots weigh. Xiao Wu said and walked out the door. Zhang Chen stared at the phone on the table, worried that the phone would ring at any time. Boss Lin's voice came from the phone. He thought, if Gu Shufang ran to Boss Lin as she said last night, Boss Lin would definitely I will call myself. Fortunately, the phone rang several times throughout the morning, but not once was it from Boss Lin. Zhang Chen was startled, and later on, he began to hate himself. He was thinking about whether he should go upstairs and report to Mr. Fu that Gu Shufang already knew about the 250,000 yuan. After weighing it again and again, he gave up. He wanted to run up and tell Mr. Fu that Mr. Fu would definitely ask, where did Gu Shufang talk about this? She couldn't tell him that it was on the third floor where even he couldn't get up. What if it says it's the office, the first floor, or somewhere else, and it's not consistent with what Gu Shufang said? Zhang Chen believed that Gu Shufang would definitely tell Mr. Fu about this. Thinking of this, Zhang Chen couldn't help but laugh. Yes, what are you afraid of? The most Gu Shufang could do was talk to Mr. Fu about this matter. I didn't take a penny, and I didn't give Mr. Fu away. I didn't say anything, not even to death. What could Gu Shufang do to me? The most she could do was tell Mr. Fu what the money was and where it went. Did Mr. Fu not know it himself? At that time, he will discuss it with himself and make an agreement then. If he really squandered the money, then he would be worried. If so, he would have no choice but to obey Gu Shufang's mercy. Jiang Chen felt calm when he thought of this. He even hoped that Gu Shufang would show up here, or that Boss Lin would call him. He wanted to see how this couple would clean up this mess. But to Jiang Chen's surprise, everything was quiet. Mr. Fu didn't come to discuss it with him. Gu Shufang seemed to have dropped a shoe, just like the story about upstairs and downstairs. Jiang Chen was waiting for her to drop her shoe. When it came to the second one still didn't fall. They returned to their previous days, as if that night had never happened. This aroused Jiang Chen's curiosity. He wondered what was the reason that prevented Gu Shufang's second shoe from falling off. Jiang Chen thought for a long time, and finally thought that Gu Shufang must have cared about her relationship and didn't want to ruin her, so she never mentioned this matter to Mr. Fu at all. Gu Shufang is still kind. Thinking that Gu Shufang was kind but that he had hurt her again and again, Jiang Chen felt a little achy in his heart. At this point, the only thing to blame is that Gu Shufang was too anxious and used the trick that hurt Jiang Chen's self-esteem the most. Jiang Chen didn't know whether it was good or bad for their ambiguous relationship to come to an end like this. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Niang. Chapter 200. Jin Lily sat on the sofa last night and waited until after 1 o'clock. Mr. Xia had not come back yet. Jin Lily was too sleepy, so she went to sleep. She slept until about 8 o'clock and got up. The doors to Mr. Xia's office and bedroom were still closed. Jin Lily knew that Mr. Xia must have arranged the funeral last night and came back late, and was still sleeping. At about 10 o'clock, the door to Mr. Xia's room was still quiet, and Jin Lily felt a little strange. In the past, no matter how late he came back, as long as it was not Sunday, Mr. Let's deal with the things we have to deal with today first, and maybe take a nap in the afternoon. Mr. Xia and Jin Lily said that when doing business, you must not give people the impression that you like to sleep in. No one will cooperate with someone who likes to sleep in. If you leave such a mark on others, you will give people the impression that you like to sleep in. People have a feeling of being unreliable and prone to mistakes. Jin Lily thought of the books she had read about Li Ka-shing and Wang Yongqing. Even though they had become the richest and second richest people in Asia, they still went to the office very early every morning. Yes, who would like to deal with someone who you work with and is also responsible for waking up for him? Of course, you would like to deal with someone who is still awake when you are asleep, who is still working hard when you are relaxing, and who is available at any time. You can find someone to deal with him anywhere with just one phone call. Fortunately, both Jiang Chen and Lu Ligan have such qualities that they will not fall in love with each other even if it is freezing and snowy outside. Jin Lily is laughing, and it seems that their future is promising. Jin Lily walked to the door of Mr. Xia's room and knocked on the door. There was no response from the door. Jin Lily turned the door handle in confusion. The door opened. It was bright inside. Even the curtains were not drawn. The bed was neat and tidy. It seems that Mr. Xia has not come back at all. This is a rare thing for Mr. Xia. They have formed a habit. Sometimes when Mr. Xia doesn't come back, he will call Jin Lily and tell her that he won't be back at night. After everyone has lived in the same house for a long time, they will naturally feel like a family. When I go home, I always make a habit of telling my family first. But Lao Bao, this guy, still betrayed his family. Jin Lily sighed. Only now did she realize how much she liked the relaxed and casual atmosphere in the company where everyone was close to each other. Jin Lily looked at her BB camera and found that Mr. Xia had never detained her. Jin Lily sighed again, not knowing where he was now or how the matter was handled. When Mr. Xia went to find these people, it was always inconvenient to answer the phone. Jin Lily couldn't call his elder brother and ask him, "Why haven't you come back yet?" Jin Lily passed by Mr. Xia's office and reached out to open the door. None of the doors in their company were locked. Jin Lily was used to entering Mr. Xia's office every morning to tidy up for him. Jin Lily opened the door, but was startled. She saw that the curtains in the office were drawn, the room was dark, and the lights were not turned on. Mr. Xia was sitting at his desk blankly, with an obvious look on his face. He came back last night and has been sitting here. Jin Lily asked, "Are you back? I thought you were still outside." Mr. Xia said nothing. Jin Lily walked over, the door closed behind her, the room lit up for a moment, and then returned to darkness. Jin Lily walked to Mr. Xia's desk. Mr. Xia turned his face sideways. The moment he turned his face, Jin Lily saw Mr. Xia's eyes filled with tears. Jin Lily was shocked again. "What's wrong with you?" Jin Lily asked quietly. Mr. Xia shook his head slightly and said, "That bastard took a plane to Beijing last night. We knew the news a little late and didn't stop him." "Ah," Jin Lily was slightly surprised, "what does he want to do? Kill me?" Jin Lily was stunned. She hadn't fully understood what Mr. Xia meant. She stared at Mr. Xia. Mr. Xia tilted his head and looked somewhere in the darkness. Jin Lily felt that he was so stiff and tall. At this moment, he became rickety and sluggish. Jin Lily's heart skipped a beat, feeling a little distressed. "Okay, how could this happen? I will go to Beijing in the evening. You didn't get up, so I called and booked the tickets myself," Mr. Xia said. His voice was dry and a little bitter. Jin Lily said, "Oh." After a pause, he added, "Once I leave, it's very likely that I won't be able to come back." Jin Lily was shocked. This time, she understood. Mr. Xia sat there, his shoulders began to tremble non-stop. This man who sang in complete vibrato began to cry silently. Jin Lily walked around the desk and stood in front of him. After standing quietly for a while, Jin Lily stretched out her hand and held the head in front of her in her arms. Jin Lily also cried, "No, no, don't think about it." The sad head was buried deeper and deeper in her arms. "I'm sorry, Lily." Looking at each other, Mr. Xia and Jin Lily said. Jin Lily gently touched his face with her hand and said seriously, "What are you sorry for?" "I volunteered." Mr. Xia hugged her tightly. "Let's get up. I want to have a good meal and then go to Beijing," Mr. Xia said. Jin Lily said yes. The two of them got up from the bed, as if they had something urgent to do, packed up in a hurry, and went to the Nance Huang Hotel. At this time, the number of guests in the hotel was declining. Mr. Xia asked for a luxury box. Jin Lily wanted to order food. Mr. Xia stopped her and told her, "I will order food today." Jin Lily smiled charmingly at him, held his hand, leaned against him, and obeyed him. Mr. Xia said that when he ordered food, he did not go to the seafood pool or game cage, but took Jin Lily upstairs. After sitting down, Mr. Xia asked the waiter to order. He named the dishes one by one. When the waiter asked him how many kilograms of fish, how many kilograms of crabs, and how many kilograms of lobsters were okay, he nodded. There were 2 people in a large box. As soon as Mr. Xia started ordering, he couldn't stop. Jin Lily knew that enough was enough and did not stop him. Today, she would let him do whatever he wanted, as long as he was happy. "Mr. Xia, how many of you are there?" the orderer asked. "It's just the 2 of us. By the way, after the food is served, we tell the waiter that we will serve it ourselves," Mr. Xia said. "Okay," the ordering clerk nodded. She looked at the menu in her hand and reminded, "Mr. Xia, is this too much? Just go ahead." "But, there are only 2 of you." "We are hungry," Mr. Xia said to the ordering clerk. "Okay," the orderer nodded helplessly and walked out. The waiter in the box knew what Mr. Xia meant by his service, so he followed him out and closed the door. As soon as they left, Mr. Xia and Jin Lily hugged each other. Jin Lily stood up and took Mr. Xia to the karaoke dance floor in the private room. Jin Lily asked, "Do you want to sing Camel Bell? How are you doing today?" "Okay," Mr. Xia's eyes lit up, "singing this now really suits the occasion. You are my close comrade in arms." Jin Lily smiled. Mr. Xia shook his head and said, "Forget it, it's better not to do it. I'm worried that I'll cry." "Then let's dance," Jin Lily said. Mr. Xia nodded. Jin Lily picked a dance song and played it. The two of them hugged each other tightly, spinning around in circles on the small marble dance floor and kissing. Jin Lily really wanted to be like this, with Xia Xia. Always melt together, follow him to Beijing, go anywhere, or never come back. Unknowingly, the two of them started crying again, and they fell on the sofa next to the dance floor. Until the waiter knocked on the door and called for food, they asked to wait. The waiter stood in the corridor holding the tray, her hands were already sore. The waiters at the door of other private rooms looked at her and made faces. She could only smile bitterly. After a few minutes, she knocked on the door again until someone inside said, "Come in." They ordered a large table of dishes, but almost didn't eat anything. Jin Lily kept telling Mr. Xia, "Eat this, you can eat this again." The bone plate in front of Mr. Xia was filled with Jin Lily and gave it to him. "Dish." Mr. Xia didn't eat anything. He said to Jin Lily, "I ordered these for you. I don't know when the next time we will eat together." "No nonsense," Jin Lily scolded. "Okay, I won't say anything." Mr. Xia smiled. Jin Lily picked up the vegetables with chopsticks and fed them directly to Mr. Xia. Mr. Xia just ate a little. The two of them sat closer and closer. Jin Lily suddenly put down her chopsticks and shouted, "Oh, what are we doing here? Why don't we go back?" Mr. Xia also laughed, "Yes, it was wrong for us to come out." Mr. Xia looked at his watch as he spoke. There were only more than 2 hours left for them. The two people looked at each other and smiled, stood up hurriedly, and called the waiter to pay the bill. The waiter looked at the dishes on the table that cost more than 10,000 yuan, and almost didn't move. A bottle of wine worth several thousand yuan was opened. "Didn't drink." She wanted to say something, but in the end she said nothing.